but then we never met up or anything. So.
I don't really wear polos either. Now that I think about it.
I have a polo I have to wear for work.
Yeah. Nice polo, but it's got anti-stink technology sewn throughout it. Made for golf, breathes really well.
Anti-stink or anti-stain?
And that's exactly right. Silverescent technology.
Wait, stink or stain?
Are you just trying to sell merchandise on the stream now?
I can't hear him. Did anybody hear it?
I know,
Stink
it cut out. I'm just gonna let it go. Look up silverescent later.
Anti-stink.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So you can just like fart in it and it wouldn't make a smell?
I've never tried that.
Do they have like underwear in that?
No, but their underwear is fantastic.
Well, you should get that anti-stink in underwear, and maybe you could hit an untapped market.
You just gotta, yeah.
All right, so I think the live stream's going according to OBS. All the sounds should be going. So I think everything's good to go. How's everyone's week been?
Good.
It was awesome. 4th of July.
Yeah, 4th of July streamer.
What's the big thing to do? Let's start with Eric. What's the big thing to do where you are for 4th of July?
What did I do for 4th of July?
Yeah.
I didn't have to work, so I watched Spider-Man, and then watched Stranger Things, and then watched fireworks from our back porch.
Which Spider-Man?
The new one.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I mean, it was pretty low key. Didn't want to drive anywhere, and we got a good view of fireworks from where we're at, so didn't need to really.
Was the new Spider-Man good?
Traffic. Yeah, I liked it. I think I liked the first one a little more, but this one was good as well. So.
Sweet.
Big Jake Gyllenhaal fan.
And what about Michael and Cody? You guys are pretty much in Boise, so what you guys get up to?
Cody, you can start.
So I'm back in Washington now. We drove to Boise. We had a lot of family come to town. That was pretty cool. We just did some fireworks out front of our house. Didn't do anything crazy. We went and swam in the river. Played some spike ball with Michael. Walter, because according to my cousin, he called Michael Walter. Just took a guess on his name. That's what he guessed.
Walter.
Even after Michael had introduced himself.
Michael.
You went with Walter's got to be probably the 700th most popular name in history, and I mean Michael is the third. No, whatever.
I got called Chuck the other day.
Really?
Yeah, someone was guessing at my name.
Talking about Chuck, Chuck Norris was in the Provo 4th of July parade.
So,
which one? There's a billion across.
I don't know, the one that was
the
Provo
one?
City, where the BYU guys were. Yeah,
Oh, really?
Yeah, a friend sent me a snap, and there was Chuck Norris.
That's cool.
All 72 years of them.
What?
And then what about you, Demas? What do they do up in Wyoming?
We didn't do much. Sorry, you guys broke it for a second. We didn't do much. Just our son goes to bed at 7, so we just stayed and watched Stranger Things. We had a nice steak dinner that I made. Didn't do much. This weekend we did take him to a water park. That was pretty fun. But other than that, didn't do too much. Just been to watch Stranger Things all weekend.
Sweet. Now, Cody, next week you're gonna be a father.
No,
Correct?
we don't know yet.
No?
We are. Her official due date's the 27th. So, but we did get our baby flipped this weekend. So we had a procedure called an ECV, or an external something version. It was a really quick process. It only lasted about 2 minutes, which is quick because most women, it's about 10 to 15 minutes. But our baby was just ready to flip. And now we just wait till Maddie has natural labor.
So wait, how do they get the baby to flip?
We have
Is
some
it like,
Braxton hit.
is it a massage that they give the baby that gets it to flip?
You literally grab her.
So they put ultrasound gel all over the belly, and she took her 2 fingers and put it on the baby's head. So she found the baby's head, so it was up by Maddie's like sternum.
Yeah.
Pushed down, and I mean, when I say push down, it was like she flattened a basketball. Like I've never seen a stomach like. So she surrounded the baby's head, and then she cupped the baby's bottom, and she slid her hands like this, and the baby flipped. And so a baby's head naturally fits a lot better down in the pelvic region. And so once it like was there, it was like the baby clicked into place. Like it was like click,
Oh.
and it was super quick.
They're nurses, I mean, they know what they're doing, and doctors, but they're not gentle on the baby like we want them to be. Eric, your mom's a nurse, right? She deals with baby
Yeah.
births all the time, right?
Yep. She like when I don't remember which, it was one of my nieces was born. Like we were there, and like she'd like be giving her a bath, and she just like grabs her by the leg and like picks her up, and like they're like yeah, bath. And I'm just like wow.
They're like
okay.
rubber at that age, right?
Yeah. So yeah, they
That's
definitely
intense.
are more comfortable handling them than I am.
Yeah, if I saw a little nurse do that to my kid, I might just freak out. Yeah, so I don't know if it's my connection this week, but I'm pushing up like all red here. So I hope the stream's going well. I don't know. I know that there's like 6 people watching, so if it's laggy and stuff, please just say something in the comments so that we can discuss this. But so Cassidy and I overslept today. We didn't go to church. We honestly, like, I don't know how, but she went to bed early last night, and I go to bed a bit later. But we slept right through till like 3 p.m., 2 p.m. this afternoon, like 2:30. And it was just so comfortable. Like the bedroom was just, I like it warm. Okay, Michael just dropped, but I like it warm. And it was just, I think it was really comfortable. But that's what we did all day. So I slept and didn't go to church, and then woke up and had to fix this. But I had some things I wanted to chat with you guys about. And since we're all like adulting, I feel like we're kind of starting to reach the beginning of adulthood. What are things that you would want to tell your younger selves?
Oh man, I think about this all the time. I'm not gonna lie. Oh man, if time machines were invented, I guess I'll go first. Since I'm probably the only one who thinks about it all the time because I'm a weirdo. The things I could tell myself is probably, I don't know if I should say this on here. Actually, maybe I'll skip over that one. Probably be nicer to people when you get into high school because I was kind of a jerk. I regret that because I feel like that's kind of how people see me that I went to high school with. Even now, no one's really done anything with their life since high school. Everyone kind of still lives back home. But aside from that, I'd probably just tell myself to be nicer to people. Second thing is don't let yourself get out of shape. And then third is probably don't date so and so because that isn't what works.
Wait. Okay, I won't ask questions right now then. Michael, I know you just jumped off, but the question is, what would you tell your younger self if you could?
How young are we?
You get a pick. I mean, what do you want to tell 10-year-old Michael, and what do you want to tell 16-year-old Michael and 18-year-old Michael?
Oh man, I think that every single person should watch Breakfast Club prior to their high school years, just so they know, like Demas was saying, meet more people, be a little bit nicer, that kind of thing. Beyond that, I think I wouldn't tell myself not to date select people, but I would definitely tell myself to break up with them and hurt them before they hurt me. Be that. I don't know beyond that, man. Like, hold true to what you know is true, and luckily you don't peak in high school. I think that'd be pretty cool too. But yeah.
Don't peak in high school.
What about yourself, Eric?
Probably I would be like, don't be such a pussy. Because I'm always very like non-confrontational and like don't
What?
do a lot of stuff, and so just be like, sack up, just do what you want to do. Don't worry so much about consequences that probably won't happen. Another is I took several years off from school from when I got home from my mission and went back. I would tell myself not to do that. Just being a law student at 30 is suboptimal. I probably would tell myself not to go to law school as well, because there's other things you can do in hindsight. Other than that, I don't know. Yeah, just have fun. Don't worry so much about literally everything.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, stay in school.
And what about yourself, Cody?
Man, what would I do different? Trying to think. I would tell myself to not be so critical of other people. Like, I felt like I was very critical of others in high school and middle school and stuff like that. Crikey. I probably would tell myself not to blow up the mailboxes. Because I felt like, that's just not a great moment.
Do you want
I
to
feel like that's
elaborate on that story a little bit before we go? Because
Me
as
and
far
Mike
as
just-
I know, blowing up mailboxes is a federal crime.
It is. So me and Michael and some friends blew up the mailboxes. We got caught. Charges were dropped. Never got arrested, but did everything else. And then it's still there. That's the thing that sucks. There's still a record of it. I don't have a record, but there is a record of the incident.
So if mailboxes get blown up in your neighborhood, the police are going to come knock on your door first.
No, I don't think so. I think if someone goes looking for it, they can find it, but I don't know.
Let them come.
I'm trying to
I'm
think.
Jason Bourne of mailbox vandalism. Like, let's go.
Talking about vandalism, and that gives you a bit of time to think about stuff, Cody. Here in Rexburg, and Cassidy showed me this video, some kid went and took fireworks and lit them on someone's porch. And they had one of those doorbells where, like, it videotapes as soon as someone, like, motions.
Yeah.
And it's got the kid's full facial, like, he came in, put lit, and then, like, looked up while he ran away. And you could see the kid, so I hope they catch him. But the thing that's scary is it was one of those, like, those fireworks that just sparkle, like, straight up, like, kind of like
fountains.
It's just a fountain,
type of
yeah.
thing. And I don't want to say this, but it looked like they had a reef or something on their door that was, like, could catch on light. But the thing that's stupid is just, like, why someone would do that. Because what if things go wrong and that caught alight and then the door caught alight and the family inside sleeping, and then next thing you know, worst case scenario. But I hope they catch the kid. But stupid people here in Rexburg. But yeah,
I got one similar to that. I had a cousin whose girlfriend had broke up with him and was dating another guy, and it's a small town. Charges were never pressed for it, but those, what do they call them? Bottle of alcohol. They like a sock or something. Yeah, he threw that at the guy's house because his girlfriend was over watching movies with some other guy. They'd broken up, and I was pretty upset.
That's
town
take-
is
That'll show them.
that's taking it to a new level for a motor item. But Cody,
What
so
town
you-
was it?
Yes, it's in Lovell. Those are a real
Oh,
hoot
okay.
nanny.
Yeah, but I bet it was a hoedown though.
But what else would you
yeah,
tell
here's
yourself,
a good
Cody?
one. Yeah, I would tell myself not to date people in high school.
Straight up, just stay
Yep.
away from them.
Like, it's fine to go kiss somebody and that, but really, like, dating is the most waste of money in high school. It's a waste of your time. Like, yeah, I would not waste my money or time. I'd spend it doing a lot more meaningful things.
For myself, I mean, I kind of want to talk about the dating thing another week when we can get some pre-podcast preparation. So we'll save like the dating for another podcast, but I definitely agree with you. I don't know if I would tell myself not to date anyone, even though like some relationships do suck, because you really do learn from them. But I would
Yes.
definitely tell myself to spend less money on them. And maybe focus on other friendships instead of just a girlfriend, if that makes sense. But yeah, we'll talk about dating another time. But yeah, I feel like we've all got some pretty sweet stories. We just need I think a week to prep, fake alias names and stuff, because I really don't want this demeaning to anyone. Because I mean, we all learn. But
Got my alias already, dude.
you do.
Yeah.
All
Andy
right.
with a Y.
But yeah, I wanted to talk about school friends. Let's start there. Instead of girlfriends, let's go with a high school environment. Because I'm going into teaching, and I'm still trying to get used to the whole American thing. And I mean, every day that I go to the high school that I've gone to, Rigby High School, and just spend time in the classroom, it's very different to what I've experienced back home, just on the respect level, on little traditions, and that. But I kind of wanted to talk about high school for you guys. How was the high school experience for you guys?
Anyone?
Miserable.
Anyone? So Eric
I
was
hated high
miserable.
school.
Let's start with
High
that.
school was
since-
terrible.
Why was it miserable for you, Eric?
Well, cause so I don't really like people that much, and so I wouldn't hang out with people all that much outside of school. So it's hard to like really foster friendships. Like the group of friends that I was closest with in high school was from video games. Like we would play like Halo 2 was big when I was like a junior. And so that's kind of the people that I spent the most time with, but I didn't really like most of the people in my class, and I got along with them because I can get along with anybody if I need to, but I wasn't really close with very many people. And yeah, school just sucks. I've never enjoyed being in school, and it was a little different for me. I mean, I guess I'm not that much older than you guys, but like cell phones were not really a thing for most of school for me. They became big when I was probably a sophomore, junior, and even then it was like they're just really crappy flip phones. So now with like there's so much social media and things you do with your phone just constantly that I think would change the dynamic of how social groups work and how you make connections with people that weren't really around when I was in school.
Yeah. Demas, what about yourself? How was the high school environment?
It wasn't bad. I went to a really small high school. I think there was only like around 200 kids in my high school, give or take. I only graduated with like 52 students. But it wasn't bad. I had a good close group of friends that we played sports with, the football team and then the wrestling team, and then the 2 years I did track in high school. So I got along with those people, but then if you didn't really play sports, I didn't really interact with you. But yeah, I know we after every home game for football, we always had a bonfire at my friend Eli's house, and we'd all just hang out there, even if people we didn't invite would always show up, and
Hmm.
it was a real hootenanny. But I don't know. That was it.
Because
Yeah,
the way
really.
I mean, the way I picture you, Demas, is kind of like Leatherman Jack walking around with two guys next to you, like get out of my way, type of guy in high school.
Yeah. Have you seen the movie Central Intelligence with The Rock and Kevin Hart?
Yeah,
Demas Golden Jet right here, dude.
yeah. I mean, that's kind of, I mean, that's my interpretation of American high school, 'cause that's pretty much what we see in movies and
It's-
stuff.
It was close.
I'll be honest, I haven't seen a Leatherman jacket in high school yet.
I have one. We wore them, but well, so you were kind of close. So my two best friends in high school, Eli and AJ's still my best friend to this day. But they were both offensive linemen and defensive linemen, so they blocked for me. And AJ's about 6 foot, and he's a power lifter now, and he threw shot put and disc and hammer in college. And then my other friend Eli played football over at the University of Wyoming for a couple of years. So yeah, I ran around with some big
Big guys.
boys.
Kind of
Not
had
me
your body
particularly.
type.
I needed people to. Yeah, I needed people to beat up people for me because I'm not very big. So
And what about yourself? Now, Cody, you and Michael went to school at the same place, right?
Yep.
Different grades, though.
Yes, he was a grade below me.
All right, how was that for you, Cody?
So high school was high school. I think everybody just had the same experience with the actual school part. This is the best way I can describe high school. I had like 5 really good friends, and if I wanted to do something, I went and did it. Like if I came up with an idea, we just go do it, kind of thing. And so that was just how it was filled with video games. Like we played video games a lot. I didn't get a cell phone until I think about on the cell phone thing. I don't think I personally got a cell phone until I was a junior.
It's that green one. It slid open.
It was, yeah. It slid up and down. And I think before that, I was actually texting on an
iPhone.
application on an iPod Touch.
iPod.
I had
iPod.
iPod
Yeah,
Touch.
Yeah, so I was like,
The Wi-Fi
texting,
text.
which is just like the funniest thing in the world to me. But that's like, now I think back on it, that's how we like communicate with people. Was the
Yeah.
iPod Touch, and I had to have Wi-Fi to get my messages.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like it was good, but I was very comfortable with just having the few friends that I had. I didn't need a lot of people to be around me. I was very content with hanging out with the people that I liked, and that's it. So
With yourself, Michael?
High school was both good and bad for me. I had 2 really good years where, Cody and I were best friends, and we went to the same school together, and we hung out like every day kind of a thing. And then I had 2 years my freshman year, and after he graduated, that weren't so good. My freshman year in particular, I was bullied pretty hard, and that caused me to change schools and look at my life and find some better friends, and I did, and it was great. And then when they graduated, it was kind of well, I'm back on an island, but it was still really good. So it taught me a lot, and I think that's one of the reasons why, like, when I watched The Breakfast Club at like 19, I was like, this is the most prolific movie I've ever seen in my life.
It
Um,
is. Good
but overall, I enjoyed high school.
Yeah, so for me, I mean, okay, high school. So my high school, we had a middle school actually, and it was like one of the only high schools in South Africa where we had a separate middle school for grades 7, 8, and 9, and then we had a high school for 10, 11, and 12, kind of like the American system. And I don't know if it was my area, but they did that kind of as it was just the way it was done for the longest time. But nowhere else in South Africa where you had a middle school. Every other school had a high school and a primary school, separated into 2. So I had that whole middle school experience, the South African version, and I'll be honest, it was absolute crap. I hated school. School was like, alright, when you line up for class photos? I was the smallest boy in my class, like grade class. I was that little kid that was like around the school building, like playing hand tennis. Like it was miserable. And I love sports, but at that time I was so bullied and miserable that I did not play sports. I played, I think, cricket, because cricket was like a gentleman's game, and bullies didn't play it. But I stay away from rugby, and I pretty much played cricket and I sailed. I actually did pretty good in sailing, like represented South Africa type of thing for sailing. And but middle school was absolute. I would swear now if it wasn't a Sunday, but it was crap. But then high school came around, and I went through this thing called puberty pretty late. And I arrived in grade 10, and I was like 6'2", 6 something. And all of a sudden, the guys that used to bully me were like a foot smaller than me. Oh, and I'll tell you this story, and I'll put it on air. Last day of middle school, like absolute last day, these three guys that bullied me, and I don't care, I'm going to say their names: Sean McLaren, Eamon Gleason, and Michael Mayer. They picked
Michael
on
with
me.
Y.
And the last day of school, I was like, fine, let's do this. Let's throw down. And I beat the crap out of Sean McLaren. Like, he did not come to high school after. Yeah, he's now a plumber, and I hope he watches this, because I'm not even joking. I have no,
I put
like,
him in the
out of those
ground.
guys, Eamon's probably the only one that I have respect for, because he apologized like years later. He was like, hey, sorry for making your life crap. But the other two, I don't care. But I got to high school, and all of a sudden, I was kind of a bit bigger, but I still didn't play sports, and I was still like not popular. And I made the first team rugby in my grade 10 year. After coming back from like a bad injury, like came back and I made first team rugby. And after that, I think things were a lot better for me. I mean, I was still, when you've like had bad experiences, you're still awkward and unsure about things. But I felt more confident, and I feel like even though I was bullied, when I got to high school, I really used my new like, social standing for better. Like, I never had, and this is Demas, I know you asked me in the car when we went to play frisbee golf once, like about my friends in South Africa, and I was thinking about it. I wouldn't say I ever had like that group of friends that like I would just go hang out with, and that I had lots of friends, like guys that were, on the first team rugby guys, down to the guys that, were the nerds, to the emo kids, a large group of friends that I was just friends with, that I was okay with. But I never had that like click that I would go back now and be like, hey, let's hang out again, my best friend group. So, high school itself was a bit of a, you had to take what I was given, and I changed. And I mean, I wouldn't change anything, but middle school was crap. Really was.
And go find Cody. Isn't your dad a therapist? He's
He's a counselor. If anybody needs help,
if let Dallin talk to him.
Yeah.
No, like,
everybody.
well, serious. Like, when it comes to bullies, and I mean, I probably could relate to Michael, but I would not. I don't tolerate bullies. I don't like it, and that's something I'll make sure in my classroom when I'm a teacher that I'm very observant of, is kids are getting bullied, because I feel like I know what it looks like, because I've experienced it. Because you won't be able to see it. I mean, I've gone into classrooms now, and I can see right off the bat who kids are that are just troublemakers and who they're picking on. And I'm just sitting on the side of the classroom, like, observing. And I'm gonna make sure that as a teacher, I'm just giving my help to those kids that need it. But what are things that, like, in the American high school needs to be improved, guys? Like, what can we do? And I mean, I'm taking this as both for myself, but what can high schools improve on in the classroom?
Cody looks like one of those dumb guys on Spy Kids when he does that with the beard.
Go ahead, Michael.
Don, I don't know how deep you want to go, but one thing that one of my biggest complaints with the education system is that we don't teach how to create wealth. And I think that in high school, you're presented with a pretty good opportunity to teach kids how to actually create for themselves and to be self-reliant, instead of, follow the status quo. It's okay. You'll never fail, that kind of thing. But failure itself is a good thing, and it's needed. And high school and school in general has kind of gotten away from that.
Mm-hmm. I see where you're going with that. Cody, Demas, Eric, anyone else want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I would kind of go on with what Michael said. Especially for someone like me, I didn't have parents that were around to show me anything. Like once I graduated high school, like that was it. I was basically living on my own and just trying to figure things out. And then luckily I had friends' parents. I had a seminary teacher. I had some adults that were around to help me, but some kids don't. And I was lucky enough to marry the woman I married because she's able to do a lot of the things I can't do. Like I've never paid a bill. Like if I didn't, I don't know how. Like my bills are just always paid. So I just go to work, gets put in the bank account, and she pays them. So thankful for her.
You want to do a shout out there? You want to throw some names out and give it a little shout out?
Yeah, my wife Deva, who's also going to be a teacher, and is went through the same program that Dallin's wife is going through as well. But yeah, the other thing I would say is bullying too, because kids get away with a lot of stuff. Like I know in our locker room, we got away with a lot of stuff in the locker room, and then things that don't get reported at all. I think that's a big thing. It's just bullying.
Mm-hmm. Eric, Cody.
I would just say we stop teaching lies.
What
George Washington Carver did not invent peanut butter. Like
he didn't invent peanut butter?
No. Like peanut butter had been around so much longer than him. Just like, and there's a ton of other things that I could think of.
Time out.
There's like a bunch of other things like these little fallacies that we're taught constantly. Like, why is the sky blue? Well, it's reflecting off the ocean.
Oh,
like,
snap!
why
You're
do we
right.
need proper science and proper history and
That's why the ocean was blue, is because it reflects off the sky.
No, it's because...
Sure.
Okay.
So, I don't know. Teach properly. And, like, this is, like, the best way... I'm trying to think of the best way I can say this, but, like, No Child Left Behind is a scam, and lots of people graduate nowadays that shouldn't because we just push them through.
That is true.
And I think we want our population to be educated. We should work with them rather than just pushing them through.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's just some things I think about education, but specifically lies that we're taught.
Hey,
Like throughout.
I'll tell you
true.
later
Yeah.
why the ocean's blue, Eric. But and the sky and that.
I
Because
can't wait.
I'm an earth science major and I'm gonna throw out some knowledge. But what do you think needs to be improved? Minor. I'm an earth science minor. Sorry.
I think kind of going with what Cody said, instead of like, I don't know that I have so much beef with like who invented peanut butter, but it's like make the teachings matter. Like make high school like consequential, because ultimately you leave high school with like a little bit of knowledge of math, like a little bit of knowledge of history, but you don't, like, that doesn't help you that much. Like I've never worked a job where I've needed to know the dates that Susan B. Anthony fought for women's suffrage. Like, and it's important to know those things. I'm not saying it's not,
dude, come on.
but to put such an emphasis on some of the things that they do instead of teaching relevant skills, or like, and it's called BOCES in New York. It's the vocational like job kind of place where you learn mechanics and things like that. Like everyone who went to BOCES was considered like a dumb kid, kind of like they were considered like, okay, you can't handle like real school, so we're going to go and teach you like a trade sort of thing. But like, it's so valuable to know trades. Like,
Oh yeah.
if I'd gone back, I probably would have told myself to go to trade school, because like you get paid well. You're always going to have a job. Like there's always going to be people like my parents who refuse to try to like do their own fixes for jobs. So there's going to be people who are going to pay you. And so just kind of making high school more of a preparation for adulthood, because right now, like, you do just get pushed out the door and you get handed your diploma and it doesn't mean anything because you don't have to actually know anything.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with you guys fully there. We don't learn things that you kind of need, taxes. Cassidy and I, we're actually buying a house this week, and we're starting that process. And we've been looking into information for the last
You
month.
just dropped a bomb on us.
Yeah, you didn't tell us that.
It's like that.
Like, you can't
buy a
go-
house.
Like, oh, FYI, guys, I bought a house this week.
Yeah, so
I don't want to hear about it for the first time. Okay.
so basically, our situation right now, and I'll update, is with Cassidy's job. Cassidy's got a great job right now. She's managing Jamba Juice. She's working hard, and she's actually enjoying it a lot. She's enjoying manager. Like, she's actually a really good manager. Like, if you compared her, like, statistics and, you know, whatever she does, she's improving. And, you know, she's reading these manager books, and, you know, everything's going good there. She's really enjoying it to the point now where she's like, hey, maybe I just want to go and, you know, work for Jamba Corporates and become a corporate person. So she's still going to finish her major. She's going to do that as soon as I graduate, because she brings in the income right now. But she, you know, she'll adjust according to. But what's happening right now is we've kind of decided we're going to be here for the next 5 years. My goal is to work in the high schools here, in a high school, whichever one hires, and coach sports, and, you know, pretty much like get my background in sports, maybe a state title or two, and start making those connections. Because the thing with sports is you need to know someone. You know, when someone gets hired as a head coach for, let's say, Boise State, head coach comes in, he's going to come in and he's going to say, all right, I want my running back coach to be this guy. I want my offense coordinator to be this guy. You know, he's going to bring in people that he's worked with, that he knows that he can trust. You know, and that's the thing with sports, and that's what I'm trying to build right now, is I'm trying to build those connections in football and stuff that, you know, ISU, Boise State. So, like, when we go to Boise State and meet the coach there, you know, I want to put that relationship there so that if Coach G, who's the rugby coach who I work with, you know, is sitting with him, and the Boise State coach is like, hey, we're looking for like an assistant to the assistant of the assistant, he'll be like, oh, I know this kid named Dallin who wants to go into coaching. Give him, you know, here's his number, and that's my foot in. So I'm trying to get those connections. So we've kind of like planned on being here for 5 years. And with that, and the house market here in Rexburg, the prices of renting just keeps going up and up. We kind of worked out that it's cheaper to buy a house, live in it for practically 3 years, and we would save a ton of money. So we're starting that process, and just with that process, we've had to learn so much stuff, like closing costs and, you know, down deposits on the interest rates, compounded monthly, and, you know, paying towards principal and this and that. And these are things that, like, we've gone to my parents and like, hey, mom and dad, when you bought your first house, tell us the things you did right and the things you did wrong, so that we know. We've gone to her parents and said, what can you do? What can you improve on? So that we don't make the same mistakes our parents have, but we're learning. And it's been like, I feel like it's a 3-credit college course trying to buy a house here. That's how much like information you kind of like need to learn and stuff. But I mean, it would be great if high schools actually had classes that were a bit more life oriented, where, you know, you learn about more countries than just like women's suffrage. Like, sorry, but they have a public holiday for that. That's all you need to know. But it would be great to know about, you know, other countries in the world, like China, you know, Brazil, straight down to like European countries and things that they bring to the world, so that you open up your bubble, and you can realize that, you know, it's a big world out there. And I agree with Michael, like learning things that, you know, you'd leave high school with, being able to open up your own, you know, business and stuff. I feel like it would do a lot better for kids these days. Because high school just seems like it's a stepping block for everyone to go to college. It doesn't actually give people those real life trade opportunities.
Yep. Additionally, Dallin, teach kids the dangers of social media. That's a class I would add. But
Eh, yeah. I pretty much teach bio and earth science, so I'll make sure I don't mess up on the colors of stuff. But definitely, like, I don't know, because I don't know what all the college classes are in America. Because in South Africa, what happened is you learn math the whole time, like throughout high school, English, math, Afrikaans, so a second language, and then you learn life orientation, which is pretty much life lessons, like, personal hygiene, sexual classes, um, HIV, how to, not contract it and be safe, kids out there. And then you basically get 3 selective classes where you choose like extra biology, advanced classes. But we don't even have classes that teach you how to do taxes. And just like Demas, if Cassidy did not know how to do taxes, I probably would not have my green card because I would have no idea what I'm doing. So, shout out to Cassidy. But yeah, I feel like, and I mean, with Cody, you're gonna have a kid soon. Demas, you have one. I'm hoping to get one in the next. Whenever Cassidy wants one.
Hoping to get one.
Like, these are things that,
Good answer.
do you think that the schools are going to change? Because if you look at a car, or look at like anything from 20, 30, 40 years ago, and then look at a classroom, it's exactly the same. You have desks and you have a whiteboard and you teach, that principle. There's no very limits, like there's only a few countries where the education system has changed that dramatically to live in this time that we live in. Like, what are your thoughts with you guys having kids?
What do you mean?
Like,
You
what?
broke up there, John.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts with the education system that you want for your kids?
Well, I'm very lucky right now. Like I said, my wife's a teacher, and so she's doing a good job. I try to, I'm not the smartest person. My wife just graduated with a perfect 4.0 from college as a summa cum laude. So she does really good with Russell. She reads him books all the time. If I'm like, oh, you want to watch TV? Because now he's at that age where we can like give him some screen time. He like refuses to like pay attention to TV, and he brings us a book, and he's like screaming like if we're not opening it or flipping the pages for him. So I think we're on a good track. I think that's the biggest thing is just like if we can educate our kids at home, the rest at school hopefully will fall into place. But I feel like educating starts in the house first.
With the parents. And yourself, Cody? Father to be?
I'm gonna teach my kid life at home and hope he learns education. She learns education well.
Well, you gotta let it choose for itself, okay?
No, it's a she. But I just like, I don't know. I just think the idea, like for me, I never enjoyed learning in high school or middle school or even elementary school because it just wasn't for me. But now that I know how I need to learn and things like that, like I do enjoy learning. I do enjoy reading about history. I mean, I enjoy reading now. So I just think I don't know what exactly I'll do yet. I haven't really thought about it. But I don't know. I don't have great thoughts on this, Dylan.
You don't? I mean, I feel like we kind of all get thrown in the deep end once you have a kid and you got to start looking at schools and stuff. But Michael and Eric, I'll throw this question out to you guys. What are things that you really want your kids to be, not like that you're going to teach your kids that you want them to just be comfortable with in life? Because there's a lot of lessons that are going to be taught.
I can answer that.
There's going to be a lot of lessons taught in high school, but what are things that we're going to teach our kids at home that they're going to take with them for the rest of their life?
I want my kid to be comfortable asking questions.
Uh-huh.
Like, not ever think that it's gonna be stupid, or that I think that I'm too good enough to, or I'm too good to answer their questions. So I want them to have no fear about any things that may be concerning them or that they wonder about.
And what about you, Michael?
A couple things that I'll teach my kids are how to communicate effectively and the importance of proper communication. And then I'll also teach my kids how to work. And I'll teach my kids the importance of self-reliance. Because, schools don't really teach kids any of that. And, ultimately, like, if you looked at a high school and said, I'm going to change this, frankly, with the power that we have, you can't. Like,
No.
you'd have to get to a national level in order to essentially combat the teachers' unions and that kind of thing. So all that I can do is essentially, as Cody said, teach them it's okay to ask questions, question everything, find your own answers, come to me for answers if you need them, and learn what it is to learn. Because I don't remember what I learned in statistics in my 11th grade year. Like, forget that crap. But know how to learn. So.
And yourself, Eric?
I don't know. Like, I think it's kind of a cliche, but like, just be happy being yourself. Like, I feel like high school, especially, like, there's like a group of kids who, like, they play sports and like they're the popular kids, and everyone tries to emulate them and like try to be a reflection of them. And it's like, just be yourself. It's gonna cause you so much more trouble down the road if you try to worry about what other people are thinking, worry about what other people are doing, and like I said, it's super cliche. And I'm not gonna have kids, so it works on that level. But it's it's just be yourself. I think that would be the best message to tell them. Be happy with yourself.
And yourself, Demas?
My biggest thing is probably just teaching my kids how to work, because I feel like my wife's gonna do most of the educating, and just because myself, I had to work basically my whole life, and so I mean, a lot of us do, but I don't know. I just didn't have any parental support, and so that's just kind of what I want. Like what Cody was saying, I want my kid to know that, hey, you can ask me for help. Like, you can ask me questions. I'm not above you asking me how to do something, like anything, because that's how we learn. If you don't ask, then you'll never know. You can watch, but you're not always going to pick up everything just from watching. So if you can ask, but yeah, just like teach them how to work. It's probably the biggest thing, because if you know how to work, you can basically do anything.
Yeah, I feel like for myself, the two things that I really want my kids to like be comfortable with is, one, I really want them to be comfortable enough to come and talk to us about things that they have. So kind of along the lines of, ask questions, but, come and talk, come and let us know, hey, this happened in class, how do you, or this happened at a party, because I want that communication level between my wife, myself, and my child, just so that, we're always there for each other. But the next big thing, and it's something that's very probably McLean-ish, is respect. I really want my kids to be respectful to like everyone else, whether they are the janitor, to the teacher, to the principal, to the coolest kid, to the kid that's not. I want them to be respectful to everyone, regardless of their situation. They just need to know who they are and what they represent, but respect. And Cassidy says this, because I say I'm going to train my kids, and she's like, no, you're going to teach them. Sorry, but I'm going to train them. Like, hey, we don't do that. We don't do that. We don't do that. And see what happens. Maybe the first kid will be a trial and error, but I guess we can have another one after that.
I'm going to train my kids too. As soon as they show one-hand dominance, that hand's going behind their back in a knot. You know what I'm saying?
And when it comes to hard work, I might just send my kid to work for Demas for a summer for 0 pay. and teach them some hard work. But
In the internship.
hey, the money
Just
you're
a
making is,
bed
for
and
your,
meals.
is your boarding and your food. But yeah, I feel like education is something that really does need to be relooked on in America. But it's interesting learning about this stuff. But yeah, let's change the topic a bit because I've been out of the loop and it's been a free agent season for NBA, and everyone in this
Oh,
chat
man.
except me is follows NBA. How are you guys feeling about the NBA? What's the best team in the West and the East right now? To local opinion.
The East will be. I'm gonna take the Bucks. Bucks or 76ers.
Michael, that face. What? You disagree?
Because we were talking crap to him the other day about the Sixers.
Yeah, I don't
Michael, this is
understand
your.
Well,
Eric, what's it called when you
defending
rebuttal?
Gobert and talking crap about how Ben Simmons sucks. I don't think I said the 76ers were sucky, but they
I think I
definitely can
did.
choke.
I think I did.
So Michael,
But
what's your
here's
rebuttal?
Dima's whole week. Dima's just casting out that line, just fishing for fights. All
Just waiting for someone to bite. Just would go in on him.
like I expected him to say Rudy Gobert sucked because he wanted it that badly.
No way. Rudy Gobert's the best center in the league.
Gosh, man, I don't even want to talk to you anymore. I'm gonna leave this. Okay. Teams in the East and West. I think the Lakers are the team to beat out of the West right now.
Really? Even over the Clippers?
Even though
Yeah, I think the Lakers have a decent time.
Both are speaking at once.
Hang on, we got it.
I think that the Lakers have a deeper bench, so it'll be interesting to see. Like the Clippers are still extremely talented, and the Clippers have Kawhi Leonard and arguably a far better defense than any other team out there, at least with their starting unit. But I don't know, man. LeBron's got what he needs. So
Did Kawhi sign for the Lakers, or where's he gone?
he's
No,
going
he
to
was
the
a Clipper.
Clippers.
Who's the Clippers?
Oh wow.
Praise the good Lord above, he did that too. I'm so thrilled about that. I can't even
I
out of the East. I'm not entirely
all
sure.
agents.
Yeah. I think out of the East, it could be, like Cody said, it could be the Bucks or the 76ers, but I think that we might be surprised with the wild card team, and I have no idea who it is. But
Celtics.
I'm
Celtics?
just
Yeah.
Celtics? Eric?
I think the Celtics will be a lot better just because
They
their
don't
young
have
guys
cancer?
will be a lot freer without
Sure.
Kyrie. Because Kyrie is very good. He's just very ball dominant. So it's hard to get